Hi, Hamilton fans. It's nice to finally see you face to face. For today's episode, we're going to be doing an interview. I reached out to the cast of the show, and they all ignored me. So now we're going to have the next big thing, and this is my sister, Sarah.
Hi, Noah.
Hi. Thank you for coming out, taking time out of your day.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so if you don't mind, we'll get right into it.
Okay.
For those of you that don't know, Sarah has a robust background in theater. She recently worked at the Hanover Theater in multiple different positions. We have communications assistant, brand ambassador, intern. But in the past, you've also been an actor. I talked about you were in Steps Off Broadway, Fat Tony. And Fat Sam, my bad. And you used the old phone.
That's true.
And you're also Lily from Hannah Montana. So my question is, what draws you to theater, and why do you keep coming back, and what lessons have they taught you in your adult life?
So it's no secret that I'm a huge entertainment fan. I enjoy all types of media and live entertainment. And so I think what draws me to theater is that there's something for everybody. And I know that's a little bit of a cliche answer, but there really is. Like, there's, whether you're into romance, whether you're into the songs, whether you're into the costumes, I think that there's a little something for everybody in theater.
Well, aside from being a big theater fan, I know you're a big film fan and critic. So you have a staggering 782 posts on Letterboxd as updated since I last wrote this down, and over 100 of those are from this year. So check her out at Sarah Jarof. I actually have a handout for you. You reviewed Hamilton on your Letterboxd. Here you gave it 4 stars, and it says, I first saw Hamilton at Victoria Palace Theatre in London in September 2018. Then I was unforgettable, magical, and exhilarating. I had the same experience watching it on the screen tonight. So many emotions, beautiful and fun. History isn't my thing, but musical are. So I said in this post, you made the distinction between seeing it on the stage and seeing it in a film production. So I said, how is that experience different, and how is live entertainment as a whole different from something that's filmed and directed, and you just kind of click it and it's gonna be the same thing every time?
Yeah, good question. So with Hamilton in particular, we were actually watching some clips from Hamilton last night, and what I was saying was that seeing it in England in particular was such a rare experience, because most people see Hamilton where it originated in America, and you see it with an American audience. So to be surrounded by English people was pretty funny, watching a show about American history. So just that alone is like the reaction that I experienced surrounded by the audience watching the live show was definitely a treat and a unique watching experience. But in terms of Hamilton as a whole, the difference between the live show and the film adaptation is that the obvious answer is that the angles are different. You're going to get close-ups that you wouldn't get sitting in an audience, and maybe you'll catch something that you didn't quite hear or see when you're watching it live. And there are perks watching it on the screen. There are perks watching it in person. So I think it all depends on your preference. But I think my favorite thing overall is that film adaptations have made musicals accessible for those who can't afford to see such an expensive show like Hamilton, or can't make their way out to a city where it's being played, things like that.
Part of the Hanover Theater, you worked on the radio and you interviewed obviously these performers and everything. So my question is kind of, what have you learned from that? And then, although to a lesser extent you were a performer yourself, so did you see any similarities?
I really liked interviewing people. I think that maybe this is something you experienced in this job that you're doing here, but I really enjoyed the research process of interviewing, and for as much preparation as you do before an interview, you can never be 100% sure what they're going to say. And so I think it's kind of exciting that you're creating these questions that you just don't know the answer to. But I also just learned a lot about the performing industry. I learned some trade secrets, I guess you could say. One of my favorite interviews that I didn't conduct, but my coworker Ashley conducted, was with Jafar from Aladdin, the live musical version of Aladdin. We found out that he voiced Tony the Tiger in the Frosted Flakes commercials. So I think something that's interesting to me is just the many faces that pop up throughout the industry. As a retired theater performer, I think it's pretty fun to still be immersed in that world and get to know what's happening. And I think there's also a certain confidence that you get from being on stage that translates into doing interviews, whether you're on that side or this side.
Yeah, has there ever been a guest that you were like starstruck to meet or to talk to?
Not in the theater industry, but Justin Hayward from the Moody Blues was my favorite interview. I did a lot of research for him, and I brought up a report card that he had when he was in elementary school and that he had forgotten about until I brought it up. So that was pretty funny.
Nardwuar moment.
Yeah. But, yeah, I mean, I also talked to, somebody from the Jesus Christ Superstar cast, and I ended up meeting his uncle who, wrote, the play On Golden Pond, I think it's called. So just a lot, like I said, a lot of, connections and, faces that you don't expect to see. So
yeah, well, that's all I had for you. Thank you for coming out. Thanks for appearing on my blog, and no thanks to the Hamilton cast. So stay tuned as always for more posts, and thank you for watching.